Napoleon's DNA didn't rewrite history, it confirmed something more profound. His Y chromosome reveals a Mediterranean European lineage so deep it links him to Neolithic ancestors and millions of Italians, Greeks, and Sicilians today. Official accounts told us he was Corsican, of Italian nobility. Now science proves those roots stretch further, embedded in Europe since before recorded history. But what exactly did those lab results reveal, and why does it matter for anyone curious about their own heritage? In 1821, shortly after Napoleon's death, a handful of his beard hairs were preserved in a reliquary assembled by Dominique Vivant Denon, the first director of the Louvre and a trusted figure in Napoleon's inner circle. This reliquary, a collector's trove of personal relics, included not just Napoleon's hair, but also artifacts from figures like Voltaire and Henry IV. The provenance of these hairs is grounded in their uninterrupted preservation and the reputation of Denon, whose role was to safeguard the tangible traces of French history. Nearly 2 centuries later, geneticist Gerard Lucat and his team approached these hairs with a forensic eye, extracting DNA directly from the hair follicles. The laboratory protocols were designed for rigor. First, they confirmed the presence of male DNA using an amelogenin test. Then, they moved through a precise ladder of Y chromosome SNP markers, M125, M174, M35, M33, M123, M81, M78, and finally, M34, each step narrowing down the haplogroup with scientific certainty. The analysis revealed a terminal marker, EM34, a rare but well-documented branch of the Mediterranean European genetic tree. To eliminate any doubt, a living descendant, Charles Napoleon, great-great-great-nephew of Napoleon's brother Jerome, underwent the same YSTR analysis. The match was exact across all tested markers, leaving no room for ambiguity. This dual-source confirmation from both a historical relic and a modern descendant set a gold standard for authenticity. The result? A clear, unbroken genetic signature, rooted in both history and science, that would soon unlock the story of Napoleon's deep Mediterranean ancestry. Across the Mediterranean, Napoleon's Y chromosome lineage EM34 threads through a living population that numbers in the millions. In Sicily, nearly 7% of men carry this same genetic signature. Sardinia follows with about 4%, and the numbers hold steady at 2 to 4% in mainland southern Italy. These are not isolated pockets. EM34 appears in Greeks, Albanians, and throughout the Mediterranean basin, always woven into the local population for generations. The broader family of E1b1b, to which EM34 belongs, is even more prominent, reaching 30% in parts of Greece and nearly half of all men in Kosovo. But the story of this lineage stretches far deeper than modern borders. Archaeological genetics has traced related E1b1b branches, like EV13, back to a 7,000-year-old skeleton found in Spain. This ancient discovery, published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences in 2011, anchors the E1b1b family in Europe since the Neolithic era. While EM34 itself is a distinct branch, its presence today in Italy and the Mediterranean reflects a history shaped by millennia of migration, trade, and settlement along these coasts. The Italian and Balkan branches of E1b1b split from their Near Eastern relatives thousands of years ago. Over time, they became foundational to the genetic landscape of southern Europe. Napoleon's paternal line, confirmed through both relic and living descendant, fits precisely within this enduring Mediterranean pattern, anchored in Europe since prehistory, not the product of recent or exotic arrivals. This is not just a personal story, it is a chapter in the larger history of how the Mediterranean became Europe's genetic crossroads. The Bonaparte family's roots reach back to the medieval town of Sarzana in Liguria, northern Italy. Documentary records from as early as 1200 AD name Gianfaldo Buonaparte as the earliest known ancestor. For generations, the Buonapartes served as lawyers, notaries, and local officials, minor nobility woven into the daily life of Tuscany and Liguria. Their status was neither grand nor obscure, but their presence was steady and well recorded in the civic rolls of the region. In the late 15th century, a turning point arrived. Around 1490, Francesco Buonaparte left Sarzana for Corsica. He traveled not as a nobleman seeking new lands, but as a mercenary in the service of the Bank of St. George, Genoa's powerful financial institution. This move was part of a broader pattern of Italian families expanding their reach during the Renaissance, drawn by opportunity on the island under Genoese rule. Francesco's nickname, Il Mauro, meaning the Moor, appears in local documents. In the context of the time, this was a reference to his medieval features: darker skin, black hair, deep-set eyes. Such nicknames were common in Italy, used to describe appearance rather than ancestry. The name Il Mauro sat alongside nicknames like Il Rosso for someone with red hair or Il Bianco for someone fair. It marked nothing more than the familiar look of southern Europe. Settling in Corsica, Francesco married into the local community and established the Corsican branch of the family. Over the next 10 generations, the Bonapartes remained part of the island's notables, their Italian heritage preserved in both record and tradition. By the time Napoleon was born in 1769, his family had been Italian for centuries. Each generation documented, each link in the chain confirmed by both written history and now by genetic evidence. Napoleon never doubted the story of his own bloodline. To his personal physician, Dr. Francesco Antomarchi, he once remarked, "My most remote ancestor who inhabited Tuscany had the principles that I profess." This was not idle pride. He traced his family's origins to Sarzana in northern Italy, and he knew the Bonaparte name carried weight back to the days when Tuscany was a patchwork of city-states. He took note of connections that mattered in his world, pointing out that Pope Nicholas V's mother was a Buonaparte from Sarzana, tying his lineage to both secular and religious legacy. Napoleon's sense of self was shaped by this heritage. He grew up speaking Corsican and Italian at home, only learning French as a boy at military school. The accent never left him. Classmates in Brienne teased him for it, a constant reminder that his roots were not purely French. For Napoleon, being Corsican and Italian was a core part of his identity, long before he became Emperor of France. The genetic evidence uncovered centuries later simply affirms what he already believed about who he was and where he came from. Across Europe, every Y chromosome lineage tells a story that stretches far beyond any single person or family. R1b, the most common male lineage in Western Europe, traces its roots to the Pontic-Caspian steppe, an expanse north of the Black Sea where Bronze Age herders began moving west nearly 5,000 years ago. Haplogroup Y, another major European line, reaches back even further. It took shape among hunter-gatherers sheltering in the Balkans during the last ice age, surviving in isolated pockets as glaciers covered much of the continent. G2A, found in Italy and the Caucasus, marks the arrival of Neolithic farmers who brought agriculture from Anatolia into Europe, transforming both landscape and society. Each of these lineages entered Europe at different times, carried by people with their own languages, customs, and hopes. But Y chromosome DNA only follows one paternal thread. It cannot capture the full tapestry of ancestry woven from hundreds of ancestors in every generation, each with their own migrations, unions, and stories lost to time. Charles Napoleon, the direct male line descendant of Napoleon's brother Jerome, provided the crucial living link for DNA comparison. Scientists analyzed 109 Y-ester markers from his sample, matching them point for point with the genetic profile extracted from Napoleon's authenticated beard hairs. The result was a perfect concordance. Every marker aligned, with no discrepancies or mutations across the entire panel. This is the highest standard of genetic confirmation in paternal lineage testing. Such a complete match rules out coincidence or contamination, establishing an unbroken male line from the 18th century emperor to his modern descendant. In genetic genealogy, a 100% YSTR match across so many markers is definitive. It means the two men share the same direct paternal ancestor with no breaks or non-paternity events in the line. The Bonaparte Y chromosome signature, EM34, is thus anchored in both historical relic and living bloodline, closing the case on Napoleon's deep Mediterranean heritage with scientific certainty. Genetics now anchors identity in deep time, not myth. Napoleon's DNA affirms that European roots stretch back thousands of years, shared, ancient, and real. In an era of shifting borders and narratives, the science reminds us heritage is older and more complex than any empire. What do you think?